question. We are about to make that decision. You have 1/11 of that decision. The reason that there's one company, organization being considered is to see if the majority of the board supports that decision. If the majority of the board does not support that decision, then we can get 3 more options. There's no one limiting our options. Tonight, we have one option on the agenda, but it's up to us to determine whether or not we want more options. I've been on this board 14 years. I've been to numerous TSBA trainings, activities, so forth and so on. I have, as others have stated, I have total confidence in TSBA and their ability to do a thorough nationwide search. I'm confident that TSBA wants for us and will do for us absolutely the best. I was here when we hired Dr. Phillips. We used a firm not associated with school boards. We were in a different position in Sumner County schools at that time, way different position. We needed a fixer, and we got one. Now we need a sustainer. We're not going to have a lot of candidates. From the word on the street, so to speak, we're not going to have a lot of candidates. It might wind up as 2 or 3 viable candidates. But that's because people do not want the position of director of schools. I'm confident, and I've probably said it 6 times, that TSBA will and can do a thorough search and bring us the best possible candidates from anywhere, not just the state of Tennessee, but in the United States of America.
Thank you, Jeremy. The finalist that we are recommending is Dr. Scott Langford.
I said it way back when we first started talking about searching for a director. Back when we found Dr. Phillips, 12 years ago. We were looking for a fixer. We are now looking for a sustainer, and I still believe that. I don't know if this candidate's the right one or not. I don't know. A lot of prayers got to go into it before I know that. But that's where we are, and that's why we have one candidate to fill this position. Thank you, Dr. Jackson, for being here. This question is pretty simple. I like to kind of keep things simple. Would you consider yourself more a fixer or a sustainer? And you, as though you wouldn't, you can expound on that a bit.
Well, I consider myself to be a visionary kind of person. And that didn't answer your question yet, right? But I consider myself to be a visionary kind of person. And as a visionary person, you have ideas that you think, if they came to fruition, it could make things great. So that seems to lean towards fixing, right? But I also have a very keen understanding that when you have systems in place that are excellent systems, by golly, you better not mess with that, because you would do more to create harm or injury to something that's good. So my answer is, it just depends on the situation that I'm working with and what I'm dealing with there, because in some cases, some things need to be fixed. Some things need to be corrected. Some things need to be addressed so that they are better. But in other cases, there might be occasional tweaking because you have some good systems in place. And so it would not be in the interest of those things to come in and mess them up, because they're working fine for the most part. With anything, change occurs in time. And so you certainly have to address those periodic changes that you have to, but in some cases you want. So I'm going to say that it just depends on the situation, and you have to act accordingly, I believe.
You can expound on your answer to this question, by the way. I know I don't need to say that. You're probably going to anyway. Would you consider yourself more of a fixer or a sustainer?
A fixer or a sustainer? Well, I'm going to have to lean towards the side of a fixer, because, as I stated a little bit before, we're in a traditional industry. We're doing a lot of traditional things, expecting a different result, and we're not seeing those. There's a lot of things that need to get fixed. I've never really used the word fixed, so I'm kind of stuck on it there. I look at fixes as opportunities of growth. I look at fixes as opportunities for us to be better. I look at opportunities for us to do something different and go in a pathway that we've never even thought of before. I remember talking to my professional learning team, and they asked me the question is why I went after my doctorate degree. And one of the things that I said that I can't tell you I can't give you the feeling of what it's like, but a long time ago when I started getting into the program, it was really hard and it was difficult, as it should be. But what it also started doing is developing the way that I started to approach things, the way that my mindset is. And I said this corny site, and it's been said on my district a lot of times, so I want to share it with you. It opened up doors inside my mind that I didn't even know that were there to open up. And it gave me a light that said, wow, I never knew that we could take this approach and show such great success. So I dub myself as a servant leader, because in all of my positions, I serve the teachers in the schools that I work for. And again, I'm fixed on the word fix. I try to create opportunities for growth to be able to give all of us the ability to be able to grow. And I think unless we're challenged and unless we're trying to see it from a different light, we may not have that opportunity presented to us.
That goes without saying you're going to anyway. Would you consider yourself more of a fixer or a sustainer?
Mr. Wise, I'm going to fight the urge to not have a slide deck for you with the 25, 30 slides. It's interesting. At different times in my life, I've been different things. I've been a fixer at times, and I enjoy that. But I think where we are now, we had a principals meeting Tuesday, and it's interesting because during COVID, we shifted almost all of our principal meetings to Zoom. Now, I don't know how y'all are, but there's almost nothing worse than having a Zoom or Team or something like that meeting. It's better than having to have everybody drive here for a quick meeting. So it's great to push out information and have quick conversations, but it's become a celebration almost to just have a principals meeting and have everybody together. And when I looked out at we were in the gym, when I looked out at all the principals gathered together, what I realized is, and I knew this, but when you see it, it really is driven home, is we've got a phenomenal group of principals. We've had 107 go through our training program to be the next generation of assistant principals. We've had 37 that are current assistant principals go through some training and support to move into the principal role. We are really scratching the surface on what we're like. I would die on the hill that we have the best group of leaders from 25 to 45 of any district in the country. We are strong, and we are diverse, and we are talented, and it's going to be exciting to watch. So in that sense, I believe that, you know, for the foreseeable future, if I am your director, I will be a sustainer, because honestly, we have put into place such a wonderful group of leaders. And we're not even talking about the lead educators. We're not talking about coordinators and supervisors and others. Like, we've got a super talented group of leaders. It's weird being 50 and I wake up being the old man in the room when I used to get to be the young leader. But it's exciting to be a sustainer because you get to see the great things that they're going to do. And they are going to move the needle. And it's exciting. So I would say sustainer.
We needed a fixer, and we got one. Now we need a sustainer. We were looking for a fixer. We are now looking for a sustainer.
So I would say sustainer.